I like the constant testing that you do with everything. That's
Yeah.
that's smart.
Yeah. Everything's got to be tested first, small scale. Does this work?
Mm,
Does this resonate? Is there interest? Do people see value in it? If
mm,
not, great. All you've done is tested it. You haven't wasted a whole bunch of time and effort and money. I have made that mistake. I've put
mm,
tons of time, effort, and money into things that I thought that I alone thought were going to be great without
mm.
testing.
Yeah.
And then I've sadly found out, no, people aren't interested. They don't see the value. They're not willing to pay for that.
Mm,
So I've
yeah.
completely changed to just how can I test this out? How can I small scale get this in front of people with as little amount of time, effort, and money as possible? And just
That's great. She knew to challenge you a little bit like that, huh?
yeah, she knew that I had a huge fear of the unknown. She
Mm,
knew that I had a ton of potential that I didn't necessarily see in myself, and she knew if I could just get past that. So giving me that full year and letting me know it's okay, we're fine financially, everything's good. I had her support. It
mhm.
kind of gave me that safety net, I guess, that I was looking for, and that okay to it's okay, go ahead. We're going to be fine.
Right.
So that kind of took away a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the perceived pressure that I would have put on myself, and it just allowed me to experiment and test and learn a ton of stuff about starting your own business.
All right. Great. Well, I want to thank everybody who's watching, joining us today for another episode of Define Your Purpose. Is Dennis Geelen, and Dennis is a business coach and accidental solopreneur. Welcome, Dennis.
Yeah, thanks, Karl. Great to be here.
So, how are things going in Ontario with your business these days?
Yeah, Ontario's good. It's starting to warm up. We're now getting into mosquito season, so full fledged. It seems like we go right from winter to mosquitoes, but you take what you can. Yeah, business wise, things are going well. It's been quite the journey. Well, I'm sure we'll dive into that, but almost 6 years into solopreneurship, and every
Nice.
day is a new chance to learn and grow. So having lots of fun with that.
That's great. So, what got you started down that path?
Yeah, short answer would be layoff.
Mm, okay.
I
Yeah.
never I actually never thought I had an entrepreneurial bone in my body.
Really.
I was a corporate guy through and through, addicted to the
Wow.
biweekly paycheck,
Uh-huh.
addicted to the perceived safety and security and comfortability of
Mm,
being in a corporate job. And then for the first time ever in my life, at the age of 43, I was laid off, and that rocked my world. This
right.
perceived
Mm,
safety was false. This perceived security was gone. I was suddenly on the
mm,
outside looking in, and at first, my because I was so addicted to this safety and had this huge fear of the unknown, my
mm,
original thought process was, okay, I'll just jump in and find another corporate job. And if I do that quickly, boy, that'll be amazing because I've got the severance package that I don't need to live off of. I can invest that. Look at me, how smart I am. And it was my wife that kind of pointed out to me, you thought the last job was safe and you just got laid off. Um, is that really the safe route? You know, Dennis, you've got a ton of experience. This is my wife talking. You got over 20 years of leadership and strategy and all the stuff. You always love it when you've worked at companies and they've brought in outside consultants. I think you would make a great consultant. And I was
mm.
like, Uh, I would love to do it, but can somebody pay me a salary? I want the safety still, right?
Mm,
She's like, forget about that. We're fine. You just had a nice severance package. My wife had a nice paying job at the time. She's like, go for it. Give it a full year. And if it doesn't work out, who cares? You haven't wasted a year. You've bet on yourself for a year, and you're going to learn, you're going to grow. And if it doesn't work out, okay, you're 44 at that point. Jump back in and find another corporate job, but you'll never have that regret of wondering, what if I had tried? And
mm,
now, what if it does work? What if you bet on yourself and for a full year you really give it your all and it starts to work and you build your own business? That sounds a lot safer now. And I was like, okay, you're blowing my mind right now. Give me a few weeks to think on this. And
that's great.
eventually I did. And that was 6 years ago. Here I am 6 years later. So
Wow, that's great. She knew to challenge you a little bit like that, huh?
yeah, she knew that I had a huge fear of the unknown. She
Mm,
knew that I had a ton of potential that I didn't necessarily see in myself. And she knew if I could just get past that. So giving me that full year and letting me know it's okay, we're fine. Financially, everything's good. I had her support. It
mhm,
kind of gave me that safety net, I guess, that I was looking for, and that okay to, it's okay, go ahead. We're going to be fine.
right.
So that kind of took away a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the perceived pressure that I would have put on myself, and it just allowed me to experiment and test and learn a ton of stuff about starting your own business.
Awesome. So what made you gravitate towards coaching at that point?
So this is funny. So this is why I call myself the accidental solopreneur. First of all, I fell into this from a layoff. That's how I got into consulting.
Right.
And it was management consulting that I originally got into. I created a
Mm,
company called Zero In, where I didn't know exactly what type of consulting I wanted to do at first. Was it strategy? Was it leadership? Was it project management? Was it innovation? Was it customer experience? So I
mm,
just called myself a consultant and thought, well, what problem do you have? I'll solve it. And quickly learned that doesn't do anything. You don't appeal to anybody when you're a
mm,
generalist like that.
mm,
So I went down this path of learning how to build a personal brand, how to find your niche, how to market yourself, how to do your messaging, how to package and price your services. And as I was learning all these things, I was sharing it on LinkedIn. So I was kind
mm.
of doing this kind of build in public thing.
Nice.
So every week I'd be posting, well, here's what I learned about branding this week. Here's what I learned about how not to present an offer because that really bombed. And here's some mistakes I made. Don't do these. And here's some tips I
Mm,
have if you're looking to. And that really started to resonate with people. My
right.
thinking was,
Mm,
I'm going to build in public and it's going to bring me more consulting work through businesses. They're going to get to know me and see me. And a
mhm,
little bit of that happened, but most of my consulting clients came through the more of the direct networking and sales and marketing efforts I was doing for businesses. What did happen by accident was a bunch of other people who wanted to start their own consulting business were really paying attention to my posts because it was really speaking to them.
mm,
Hey, if you want to be a consultant, do this, don't do that, learn from this. Here's
right.
some tips. And a bunch of those people started reaching out to me saying, hey, I
Mm,
saw you got laid off and started your own consulting company. Can I pick your brain for a minute? Can we jump on a call? Can I buy you a coffee? Can we have a virtual coffee? And I was doing all these free calls with people, just kind of sharing everything I've learned.
neat.
But the light bulb didn't go off yet. I was just like, wow, I'm paying it forward. This is great. And then COVID hit.
Mm,
And I thought, oh boy, woe is me. I've just kind of got this consulting thing going. Everything's working. I've nailed down my niche. I've got all these consulting contracts, and now everything's on hold. And my
mm,
wife's like, it's always my wife, right? She's like, Dennis, you've been talking about writing a book, right?
mm,
Isn't this the perfect opportunity? You just
right.
did a whole bunch of consulting. Again, you've got this financial cushion. You figured out how to build your business. Yes, everything's temporarily
Mm,
on hold. So is everything else in the world. Don't feel sorry for yourself. This is an opportunity. take the time you've been given, take all this experience you've now had about all the consulting you've done with all these clients, and write a book. So, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I sat
Mm.
down. I learned as much as I could about writing and editing and marketing and publishing a good book. I talked to all these best-selling authors. I got a ton of advice. I dove in. I got myself a good editor, got a good graphics company to do all the graphics and design of the book and the formatting.
Mm.
And again, I was sharing on LinkedIn everything I was learning about writing a book. And
Right.
then I
Mm.
released my book, The Zero In Formula, which kind of packages everything that I do with a company on how to
Awesome.
be more customer centric and innovative. And I've got all these stories from companies
Mm.
I've worked with, from other companies. I've, sharing all this stuff. And the book was a huge success. But again, what it appealed to was these people going, "Hey, I want to write a book.
Mm.
I see you've
Right.
been sharing all this." And finally, the light bulb goes off
Mm.
going, I've got a real opportunity to coach people who are a couple steps behind me, how to
Mm.
start their own business, how to write a book, how to really get themselves out there, how to build credibility, how to do. So that's when I spun up the coaching side of my business. And now I do
Mm.
both. I coach other
Right.
solopreneurs, and I have my own management consulting company. So I kind of got my feet in both worlds, but both of them were an accident. I never intended to go down this road.
Right. So that's the accidental part, I guess.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, one happy accident after another.
Right. We kind of you have to put yourself out there too to have the accidents. I feel like.
Yeah, it's a huge part. So here's the next happy accident.
Mm.
Everybody was really resonating with the fact that I kind of fell into this. All these people were knocking on my door saying, "Hey, can you help me too?" So I went, "Hey, I wrote one book, The Zero In Formula, that was geared towards my business clients, B2B. Now I can write another book geared towards people who want to be solopreneurs like me." So I sat down and I wrote another book. This time I wrote it in a business fable parable style. Tells a story of a person who's kind of burnt out in their corporate job, decides to
Mm.
bet on themselves and follows their journey, all the mistakes, almost 80% my story, but more fictionalized to kind of make it more
Awesome.
intriguing with different characters. And I had a bunch of beta readers read the book and give me their feedback. And I also had a bunch of different titles I was kind of considering. One of the beta readers wrote back and said, those titles are okay, but I'd rather, I kind of like if, the concept of accidental solopreneur. And I went, oh, that's a cool title. I like
Mm.
that. And I kind of played with it for a bit. And so that's what I ended up calling the book, The Accidental Solopreneur, because this guy in the thing never in the book, the main character never really planned on doing this, fell into it. And that title really stuck with people.
Mm.
Everybody that read the book was
Right.
like, wow, I love the book. I love the story. I love the characters. I love all the lessons, everything but that title, The Accidental Solopreneur, that's so cool. That's like me. I fell into this. And oh, hey, did you hear about this product that was invented by accident? And did you hear about these two people that met by accident? And now they're famous business partners. And did you hear all these people were sharing these? Did you hear about this story with me?
Mm.
So I went,
Nice.
that sounds like an idea for a newsletter. So that's when I spun
Mm.
up a newsletter called Happy Accidents, where I share all these accidental success stories from the business world.
Right.
And that really took off.
Mm.
And again, another happy accident in its own. And then all these people were like, man, I'd love to listen to these stories. Can you turn this into a podcast? So just earlier this year, I spun up the Happy Accidents podcast. Again,
Nice.
all of these things were not planned. All
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
these things
It's
were
like
not
the
something I
best
sat
ideas
down.
come from your market too. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yep. It's more just stumbling across these ideas, seeing what people are really interested in, where there's
Mhm.
value, and then doubling down on them. So now I'm fully the accidental solopreneur because none of this was planned. I'm just kind of stumbling my way through and
Mhm.
learning as I go and taking these unexpected opportunities and running with them.
Right. Yeah. I think the more you look for opportunity, the more it's there.
Yeah. What I like to tell people is you have no control, but you have a ton of influence, and you can greatly increase your luck surface area. So what that means is I can't sit down and say, I want this exact opportunity to come my way, so I'm going to make it happen. If you go in with that mindset, you're probably going to get um, discouraged, frustrated, disappointed because that exact opportunity might not land in your lap. But what you can do is get out there and meet more people, get out there and test more ideas, get out there and learn more things, get out there and apply yourself, get outside your comfort zone and try different things you wouldn't normally try. And what's going to happen instead is a bunch of unexpected opportunities are going to come your way. Things you never thought of,
Mhm.
things you never planned for,
Right.
things that wasn't even on my radar. But wow, as long as now you have the ability to recognize those opportunities and then the boldness to capitalize on them, that's actually how a lot of successful stories unfold. And that's the exact blueprint that you'll see in all the stories of my Happy Accidents newsletter. The person was out there doing something. They weren't
Nice.
sitting on the couch watching Netflix. They were trying
Mhm.
things, they were doing things, they were collecting a bunch of experiences and skills and stuff. And then suddenly this unexpected opportunity comes their way because they were increasing their luck surface area.
Mhm.
But then they recognized that opportunity and they capitalized on it. Almost
Mhm.
every success story can be boiled down to that three-step act.
Right. The taking action is
Yeah, it's
critical,
huge.
huh?
It's huge.
Awesome. That's great. Good stuff. So, what's coming up this year that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, the latest thing for me is I've just launched a membership community. That's something that I've always wanted to try. Now I'm doing it. Now that I've got the consulting, the coaching, the newsletter, and the podcast kind of figured out, and those are all
Mm,
going. It's a matter of okay, now I've probably got too much stuff on my plate. I need to do more of the things that scale and less of the things that don't scale. So
mm,
one-on-one coaching, one-on-one consulting, those are great. They're high ticket, but they don't scale. I can only be with one coaching client at a time, and you can only charge so much. I
mhm,
don't want to be the highest price coach or consultant out there. So how can I work with more people at the same time? So this is where I'm scaling down any one-on-one coaching that I do, and I'm putting more emphasis on trying to build a community. So I'm currently doing a 3-month beta test. 15 people have signed up for this beta 3-month trial of a community. I'm testing all kinds of different stuff, different types of calls, different ways of interacting, different
mm,
ways of putting people on the hot seat and brainstorming ideas and having them discuss the challenges that they're having, bringing in different guest speakers, and just seeing what different types of formats really work, both in terms of
neat.
engagement, because it is a
Yeah.
community, and in terms of people learning, and in terms of people taking those learnings, applying them, and getting growth. So we've got a bunch of stuff lined up over the next 3 months. We're only a couple of weeks in, but so far I'm getting tons of great feedback from the different members in the community. And then that should wrap up in August. That'll be the end of the 3 months. And then I'm going to take everything I've learned and then go back and redesign the community. And I'll do a full launch in September where I accept a lot more members in. And then that'll probably be my main focus for the next year or two, really trying to make that the best community as possible. I may even have to shut down my zero in consulting company. I don't know if I'd be able to do business to business consulting at the same time and
Mm,
continue to really lead a good community. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I may even find
mm,
after the 3-month beta, this sucks. I don't like it.
mm.
The members don't like it. Okay, I tested it out, didn't work. So far, it's not looking like that'll be the case. It's looking like there's tons of great stuff here, and then it'll be diving in and making it even better. So
Yeah, I like the constant testing that you do with everything.
yeah,
That's smart.
yeah, everything's got to be tested first, small scale. Does this work?
Mm,
Does this resonate? Is there interest? Do people see value in it? If
mhm,
not, great. All you've done is tested it. You haven't wasted a whole bunch of time and effort and money. I have made that mistake. I've put
mm,
tons of time, effort, and money into things that I thought that I alone thought were going to be great without
Mm.
testing.
Yeah.
And then I've sadly found out, no, people aren't interested. They don't see the value. They're not willing to pay for that.
Mm.
So I've
Yeah.
completely changed to just, how can I test this out? How can I small scale get this in front of people with as little amount of time, effort, and money as possible, and just learn? And that's my
Yeah.
whole motto moving forward.
Nice. Awesome. Um, so, if people want to get more information, I guess your website is the best place to look
Yeah,
for you.
the best place for people to see me, what I'm up to, different things that I offer. I got a free newsletter. If you sign up for my newsletter, you get a free copy of my Accidental Solopreneur book. You can find my podcast there. You can find my coaching, my courses. So
Yeah.
my website is just my name, DennisGeelen.me, and it's got everything there.
Awesome. Great. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention today?
No,
Or
the biggest thing for me has been, if I look at where I was 6 years ago, I was this corporate guy, and there's nothing wrong with having a corporate job and being an employee. If you love your job, if you love what you do, if you love your boss,
Mhm.
amazing. Keep doing it. But I had kind of plateaued. I was kind of running on, just going through the motions. Probably a big
Mhm.
reason why I was laid off. Um,
Mhm.
but I was too scared. I didn't think I had the ability. I didn't think I had the boldness. I didn't think I was going to make it if I ever bet on myself. And now when I look at myself today, 6 years later, I'm like, look at, I've done all this stuff. I've written books. I have a
Mhm.
podcast. I have a newsletter. I've coached people. I've consulted. I'm now running a membership community. I didn't know anything about any of this stuff 6 years ago.
Mhm.
Anybody can do this. If you believe in yourself, if you take the step to lean into some things that are outside your comfort zone, anything's possible. We all start from point zero. Everybody who's a successful entrepreneur wasn't at one point. The only thing that separates them from you is they went for it. So if you're in this position, go
Yeah.
for it. Don't go all in day one and spend a whole bunch of time, effort, and money on it. Test things
Mhm.
and learn. Reach out to people. I've had some great mentors along the way because I've created relationships and I've
Mhm.
asked them questions. And sometimes I've paid for coaching and I've been parts of other communities. And sometimes I've just made really great friends with people who offer me great advice. But none of it happens if you don't dip your toe in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's great advice. I totally agree. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time today, Dennis, to have this great conversation with me. Really appreciate it.
My
Um,
pleasure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Karl.
yeah, hopefully we can catch up again soon and maybe do some more work together.
That would be awesome.
All right, great. Well, thanks again, and I'm gonna hit end record.